So good morning. This week we're thinking about some of the charities that we support, and it's lovely to have Hatton from Send a Cow. We've supported Send a Cow from both churches over the last 2 or 3 years, and Anne's here this morning to tell us a little bit about what Send a Cow does normally and how things are at the moment. So good morning, Anne.
Morning.
It's lovely to have you with us. So, Anne, could you tell us what normally Send a Cow would be doing in ordinary time?
In ordinary times, well, we have an office in Newton St Low. There's about 50 of us, and we work. There's lots of different branches of what we do, but we work. My area is churches, and we work for fundraising. I'm in the fundraising team. And we work to raise money for our work in rural Africa, helping rural communities to work their way out of poverty. And we believe that where there's land, there is hope. And so we help them to use their land to harvest their futures. So that's what we do kind of broadly.
So how effective has that been with the people that you've worked with in Africa?
Well, we've worked with millions of people, several millions of people now in rural Africa over 33 years. And we've seen lives transform from barely scraping by each day, not knowing where the next meal would come from, to thriving, where families are having at least three nutritious meals a day, where the food that they are growing themselves on their own land, and they're living healthily, sustainably. They're diversifying their income so that they're not just growing food on their land, but they're looking at other ways of having an income. So should there be a flood or a drought, they've got other means of supporting the family. We see that they're sending their children to school, and looking back, we've seen that children have gone on to university and become teachers, doctors, nurses, all sorts of different things that they've become. So we know that what we do works, and we have a great team in Africa. We have a fantastic team that are so passionate about what they do. They have such great experience, and we don't impose solutions that we think would work. We work with whole communities, helping them to find what they want, seeing what they envisage for a future, where they want to be, and how we can work with them to do that. So it's all about working together, and that African team are amazing. They are a real inspiration.
Brilliant. I know I've seen pictures of some of the work, and it's been totally inspiring for me anyway. Times have changed a little bit at the moment, and I know Africa's been affected as well as the rest of the world. How has the coronavirus pandemic affected your work in Africa and you as an organisation?
Okay, so as an organisation, we, as everybody else, are working remotely now. So in Newton St Low, the office shut down, and we're all 50 of us are working at home, although currently half of us are being furloughed. So throughout May, there'll be just 25 people doing the job of 50, which is quite an awesome task. So things are really going to be cut down. In Africa, we're concerned about how this will impact on our families in rural Africa. Our offices have shut down, have paused. People are working from home as far as they can. The different governments in different countries have different ways of doing things. So there are some countries where the teams can still have some contact with our families, a very small contact. and there's others where there is no contact being had. So we're looking for ways of working creatively to continue our training programmes, and that is by mobile phone. We're working with peer farmers, so select farmers who will then will cascade that information, that training on to others. And also by radio. Radio is a very powerful method of reaching many, many people, more than we would normally reach. The Kenyan government has been working with the Send a Cow Kenya team, and Titus, who's our country director for Kenya, has been really busy in meetings working with the government, trying to find creative ways of doing things, of looking after communities and reaching communities who wouldn't normally be reached. We've also been building tip-taps, that's the hand washing device, at all the water sources that we can, and providing leaflets, so that we've been communicating what coronavirus is and how to protect themselves from it. So a lot of work is being done in Kenya in particular, but also in our other country programmes too.
So a couple of things, I wonder if I could just pick up a tip tap. Could you explain what that is?
So it's a frame made of sticks. So see it as a door frame, kind of a frame like that. I don't know how else to describe this, with a plastic bottle hanging from the top centre, which is attached by a piece of string to another stick at the bottom, which makes a pedal. So the foot presses on the pedal, that pulls the string, tips the bottle, and you can wash your hands. I hope you've got a good imagination.
Fantastic. Innovative ways of providing water.
We've also got a community that have been, before all of this, have been making liquid soap. So I think their business is thriving right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it sounds like with the radio and looking at innovative ways of working, that actually what you're doing could be spreading faster than it might ordinarily have done. Would that be fair to say?
I think time will tell, but yes.
Wow. So, I mean, that's hugely positive. Are there any other things that are positive that have come out of coronavirus?
I think those are the main things. I mean, at home we are encouraged, really encouraged by people writing in letters saying, we're really thinking of you, you know, and making generous donations, really generous donations in hard times. So, you know, the funding is still coming in, and we're grateful to our supporters for that. We're humbled.
That's wonderful to hear people's generosity in these times. I know you sent out a letter about a heartwarming story from Send a Cow. Could you tell us a bit about that for people in the church who haven't received that?
Yes, well, we've just had news from Joseph and Terra. Terra is Joseph's wife, and they're in northern Uganda, and they're part of our Living with Wildlife project. And they've been doing really, really well. They've been, I want to read the quote, working with Send a Cow makes me feel healthy and free. Before the project, life was so hard, but now we're growing crops in rows and growing much more because of it. And Joseph has surpassed what he or we had hoped for. And now they're actually spending money that they're earning on themselves. That's something that we take for granted, spending money on ourselves. But they're doing this for the first time. And they've bought a mobile phone, but they've also bought a radio. And he says, I like listening to music and the news. I also listen to programmes about farming. I learn lots of good tips and advice from that show. And Terra, she enjoys listening to gospel music. So life has changed. Life is really relaxed for them. They still work hard. But we know that they and all our families, one of the first things that they do is they build a latrine, a toilet, and they build a tip tap, as I've just mentioned, and they build a drying rack. So that's for all their washing up is placed on a rack outside, so it's bleached clean by the sun, but kept clean away from any sort of animals that might be roaming around. They are living a much healthier, safer life than ever before. And also they are sharing that knowledge with others. So part of one of our cornerstones of Send a Cow is to share knowledge and pass on the gift.
That's brilliant. It's brilliant to know that even though things are difficult around the world, for some people their quality of life is better than it was before. That's wonderful. Just as we finish, is there any way that we can, what can we do to help Send a Cow? How can we pray for you?
Yeah, well, we really value your prayers, thank you. And I think our prayers fall in three areas. So for our UK staff, please pray for those who are being furloughed. It's difficult, but also those who are staying in the office, not in the office, working from home, and the amount of work that they will have to do that's extra. So we pray for that work. We really value prayer for our Send a Cow Africa team, for creative ideas as they look for ways of continuing training our families at a distance. We just thank God that so much work has been done already on health and hygiene and sanitation. And we pray, Lord, that will just multiply, that will go on, that will just be passed on to others, so that people will learn about how to look after themselves and protect them from this virus in particular. And we pray for protection for our families, the families that we're working with, but all those families in difficult, in rural settings that are so far away from good medical support. So yeah, we ask for protection for those families and protection for our team in Africa. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne. Thank you. It's been wonderful to talk to you and to have a little bit of insight to what's going on, and we will share that with our churches, and we will be praying for you. So
thank you so much. Thank you for this time, and thank you for your generosity of prayerful and financial support over the years. We really appreciate that.
And thank you for your time with us this morning when I know you're so busy. It's been wonderful to have you. Thank you.
It's a pleasure.